何をしている？
どうじゃ？おお、よいぞ、溶けてきたぞ。じゃが足りぬ。なみなみ次や次へ。さあさあ皆の衆、さあさあ飲め飲め、振る舞い酒ぞ。さあさあ皆で都人に。ああ、どうか松座にお加えください。
Hello everyone and welcome to yet another Sekiro boss battle and strategy guide. In this particular episode we'll be dealing with Orin of the Water and the Corrupt Monk, the first appearance. This particular fight, I'm going to show you something actually very interesting, and that's not actually fighting the boss. There's a way you could do it, of course, but I think it's best to document any glitches and any abusive methods you can use to beat a boss if possible. So in this particular case, if you pull Orin of the Water far enough to where you came from, which is the Malibu village, you are able to force her to walk back. In previous Souls games, you've had certain situations whereby you would use your bow and arrow to pull enemies, and they would always have a threshold where they would leash and return back to where they started from. You can do the same thing with Orin of the Water, but you have to be precise on where you stop running. If you go far back to the sculptor's idol, she'll continue to fight you normally there. But if you pull her just to the second rock, she leashes in a way such that she stops attacking, and she's so close to where she started from that she always wants to walk back, similar to what we did to the Shinobi Hunter. And then as she resurrects for her second life, your best thing you could do is use your firecrackers to stun lock her in place, and then she'll leash yet again, and then rinse repeat, break her posture. This is an abusive method to beat this boss. This is not the proper way to beat the boss. The best thing I can say is if you want to fight a fair and square on, you'd have to bring a lot of divine confetti, a resource I'm not willing to spend. But anyway, that was that particular part, and now the boss of the actual episode, the Corrupt Monk. I dare say this boss is a testament of poor game design. This boss is a testament of some of the reasons why I hate this game at times. A lot of frustration. Bear in mind, just as a disclaimer, I had been playing this boss fight since you could say I started at 6 p.m. That would actually be a lie. Roughly 17:30, so almost 6 p.m. and I only managed to beat the boss at 2000, so 8 p.m. So it took me roughly 2 hours of dying and non-stop action, but that's not the point. The Corrupt Monk is a boss you fight twice in this game, and the Corrupt Monk is a boss with a barrage of attacks, so I'll try to explain them as we go along. Bear in mind, this is an endurance battle. Don't think you can do this fight very quickly. Pay close attention. The very first thing you have to know about the Divine Monk is this spinning attack. The spinning attack has 5 repetitions. The best thing you can do if you're feeling up to the challenge is deflect all 5 repetitions. This helps build posture. This fight is about slowly whittling down the monk's life and putting a lot of pressure on the posture gauge. But in the beginning, bear in mind there are stages in posture. When you are still full of vitality, you'll notice that your posture bars are still black. That's when it regenerates very fast. As you get down to maybe your second quarter of your life or your second third of your life, the bars become orange, which means posture regenerates less quickly, and so on. So same thing applies to this boss. You have to endure as much as you can. He has a lot of attacks, but luckily enough, most of these attacks that are not death blows are all deflectable with reasonable timing. But the main key thing you have to understand is the death blow that the Corrupt Monk uses. It has two potential attacks. You could either go for a sweeping attack that you can only jump, you cannot deflect. This will allow you to get in a jump-in combo, though not dealing much damage. You have to keep the posture pressure on. And then the second death blow attack is the thrusting attack. You have to make a recounter that. You have to. There is no choice. And the reason why I'm saying you have to do this is because that's big posture damage you cannot let go of. You have to take every opportunity you can to defeat the monk in the fastest way possible, because you have way less life at this point than the monk. Your gourds will run out. So there's no better way than to not get hit and deflect as much as you can. The 5 repetition attack. The last hit will always stagger you. This is a fight where if you get hit, try mash evade as much as you can, because you will be gut broken. If you have any items that buff up your posture gauge, make sure to use those. If you have any items that you're willing to spare to buff your damage and defense, like the sugars, you can use those if necessary. They are not 100% necessary because I won't use them in this fight, but I'm sure they would make the battle a whole lot easier if you can find proper places and safe timings to use them. But like I said, it's an endurance race. You have to, I repeat, you have to play perfectly. It's a difficult fight. I do have to admit that I lost my temper multiple times fighting this boss. But this was the one time I managed to crack it when I'd given up all hope. And I was like, you know what, let me just cut the recording and go grab something to eat. I told myself one more time, and that was it. Luckily enough, most of the jumping attacks are not necessarily dead angles, so you are able to block those, you are able to deflect those, deflections being your best course of action. One key note that I can say is the death blow sweeping attack. This is the bane of this fight because it has variations. Initially what happens is the Corrupt Monk has a death blow sweeping attack, like I said, that you can only jump. It has 2 default variations. One way it sweeps once and one way it sweeps twice going backwards. So if you are used to jumping forward in reaction to the sweep attack, the second blow will hit you if it's doing the one way it sweeps twice going backwards. Now, if it's the single sweeping attack, you have to understand one thing. If the monk whiffs, i.e. if the monk misses this attack, it will counter attack. It's trying to bait you into attacking it, and that's what it usually does most of the time. It will do a sweeping attack that you didn't evade. It was so far away, you think to yourself that I have to go in and attack. After that, it has a 2-hit combo. If you deflect the first hit, the second hit comes immediately, so prepare your deflections or else you're going to take a lot of damage. And then if you deflect the second hit, there's a chance of a third push into an under-swinging arc attack. But the problem is that attack has a low probability of occurring, so it's hard to know when to go in and when to not go in. My best advice is, if you are not sure, do not go in. Just block, regain your posture and deflect what may come if it comes. The thrust attack, luckily enough, it's telegraphed when you see it, because both the sweeping and the thrusting attack have the same startup animation. That's the difficult part. But once you see that the thrust is on its way, then you are able to deflect it with the Mikiri counter very easily. It's a slow enough attack to see. But besides that, when you do get your Mikiri counter, do not be greedy. And the reason why I'm saying that is it has a jump back attack that it likes to do after you start attacking, and that attack is really powerful. But generally speaking, those are the only tips that I managed to get during the Corrupt Monk boss fight, and bear in mind there's a second one on the way, which I'm not looking forward to. So thanks for listening in, and I'll see you next time.